Hello and welcome to the channel. This is Steel City Knives. Right, I've got another video for you. Well, I've got loads of videos for you, but I've got no time at the moment. I've got so many good knives to show. I'm really looking forward to doing videos on them. But yeah, tied up at the moment. You can probably tell with the limited amount of posting and commenting. But this is good, and this is kind of how my knife nerd brain works. So basically, there's a lot of brands that we all like collecting, the main brands, the established brands, but then now and again you'll stumble across a brand that intrigues you and you want to have a bit of a deep dive into it, and this is like this brand basically. So this is CK Knives. Now I always remember Slick Slices doing a video on the real lamb's foot, and this is the sort of range they're probably more known for today, and I've got a couple of them that I use at work. So I've got that electrician's knife that hopefully I'm showing on the screen. I've not got the lamb's foot yet. I'm gonna have to pick the lamb's foot up. But so that's what they're more known for today. But when you look at the company's been in existence for 120 years. So they're called CK after the man that founded it. That's Kammerling. And really, like I say, with that sort of history, you think. So I started researching them on the official website. Now, so already I knew they were quite a historic company, but then I got sent this by my mate Drew, and it was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, this is today's caliper. Got this off Etsy. Little vintage CK. I just thought he made cheap tools until I read about him. 120 quid off Etsy. But the snap on this is incredible, and it's same other way around. I just like colour at scales. It's only a cheap thing, you know, a bloody little hardware knife in it. But
so that was enough for my knife nerd brain. I'd seen that and I thought, and I knew they were quite an historic sort of company. I thought I've got to go out there and find some really nice old knives, and we'll show them on the channel. We'll do a bit of research on the channel itself. He's brilliant knowing people like Drew. It's not good for the bank balance, and I generally mean that. It's been the highlight of this channel, really, meeting like Ian and Roland and all you guys out there and just sharing the knife hobby. But yeah, so that's what started it all off. So where I started off at the official website, and as you can see, it's like quite a modern sort of company now, and they mainly specialise in like industrial tools and stuff like that. We buy some of their stuff in my company, but I knew that they went back 120 years. So if you look on their website, you also see the historic side of it, and they go into great detail through the ages. So it's really good. Go check it out if you're interested in that sort of stuff. But quite brief, but it sort of lets you know sort of the heritage and the, you know, how far back they date. So I picked this one up because I seen it. So I want to just touch slightly on the state of the second-hand market here in the UK. So other people in the world, you'll probably find this interesting. So as we all know, UK is not the most knife-friendliest place in the world. They don't like us having knives, and there's lots of rules and restrictions. One place that we can pick them up quite readily is Etsy. And now I've seen Etsy where there's been no sellers on there, but now all of a sudden there's been this resurgence, and there's loads out there, which is good. It means that it's becoming more popular, and there's a market out there. But be careful out there, guys. I'm not a channel that wants to sell you anything. I'm not bothered what you buy. I purely just do this for my own entertainment. I enjoy a lot of knives. My first video was for the love of knives, and that's what I'm all about. So I'm more bothered about you guys not getting ripped off, to be honest. And there are a few, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're scrupulous. I don't think they're out there to gouge us and whatever. I think they're people that are probably not knife people, and they're selling knives, and probably they don't know what they've got. But just to give you an example, so the person that I bought this off said this was buffalo horn covers, which it does look like that, but I think they're plastic, so they're just like faux buffalo horns. But it makes it seem like a more premium knife than it is. And again with this, the seller that I bought this off, he shot the picture and it's shown it like this, and in the description he put they were stag covers. Now, my gut instinct was that's not stag, but I took him at face value, and they're plastic. But don't get me wrong, I contacted him. He was good as gold about it. and he made things right. So I ended up getting this for about £10, £15, I can't remember, and it's just a pocket dropper, and it was just to show on the channel. And again, I cringe a bit, guys, when if anybody says, oh, I bought this knife because, you know, I've seen it on yours. A lot of the times it's like with these, if I didn't have YouTube, I probably wouldn't have picked them up. I mainly pick them up because I think they'll make a good video and we can talk about them. Although I may have picked this one up, and I'll explain with a bit more detail later on. But should we have a look at the knives? They are really well put together. They're both made in Italy. So they're a German company. They're well established here in the UK, and we've got a few places over here. But they have their knives, it seems, made in Italy. And how I found that out, when I bought this one, I did a bit of research, again, online. Now, one place I love to go is knife forums. Now, they might be seen as a bit dated now and a bit old hat. Personally, I love them, and I think there's a lot of knowledgeable people and some brilliant knives that they show on there still. And this is a forum on all about pocket knives. These were some Americans discussing CK knives on there. So a few had found their ways over to the States, and they was trying to discuss who the manufacturer of them was, who was the knife maker, which I really enjoyed. And one of the guys had this particular knife. So I'll show you that now. I'll show you the thread. There was this guy that offered this suggestion, which made me chuckle. I'm sure that, yeah, Calvin Klein, yeah. But and then they shown these knives as well, which look really well, and they are. I think they are really well put together knives. And Drew referred to them as like a hardware company. Now, a hardware company in some respects can be really premium. If you think about Belknap and how they outsource them to some really well-made knife makers over in the States, which we could have a similar thing here, but I don't think they'll hold the value. Don't go out and spend a lot of money. And again, this one was for £250 on Etsy. Somebody wanted for it, the exact same one, not in this sort of condition. It was almost really worn. Now, I paid, I think, about £50 for this, and I think I overpaid for this, to be honest. Even though it's a well-constructed knife, really nice, but let's keep in mind they're plastic covers. And I don't think there's a particular amount of age to this knife. I've sort of aged it, and I think that's probably what it is. But yeah, so watch the Etsy sellers out there. Keep them honest, guys, and do your research, definitely. So keep your lies. It's good to see how popular it is, but then you've got a lot of sellers on there that are just charging some ridiculous amounts for knives that are just not worth it. So yeah, just keep your wits about you. Just a bit of a heads up from Steel City there. But yeah, right. So should we have a look at the knives? So yeah, the Staglon covers. One thing I noticed with this is you see the gaps with the bolster. I've seen this on a few other knives as well. So there's gaps there, and I think that's it's to save hafting. So instead of hafting, what they do, they sort of just drop the covers there and then pin them, and then cut them to size, because you see how uniformed the gaps are there, quite precise. So and I've seen that on a few other knives. So it just saves one step there on the hafting. So, but it's like a pocket dropper. Like I say, it costs £10. It's stainless steel blades. It's got the CK stamp on there. My light's not going to show it. Stainless and then Italy underneath. And judging from that forum, I think they're all made in Italy, because a lot of them had that Italy tang stamp. But yeah, that knife forums are brilliant. I really do rate them. I know people probably think they're old hat now, but go check them out, because, like I say, the amount of stuff you can find on there and information really is good. Right, now I use the Levine's guide as a reference that I'm sure you all know if you've been on, following the channel for any time. And one reason I really wanted to get this knife is, so the version I've got is from 1985, I believe. And I'll show you it now. So this is when he talks about the Stockman. So we know it as the Stockman, but in the Levine's guide here, they refer to it as the premium stock knife, which they probably did in the 70s and 80s. I weren't collecting then, so I wouldn't know. And this has got the stamp of the premium stock knife. So it's just cool to have that sort of era of knife sort of terminology on one of your knives. So just a bit of a knife geek thing, that is, for me, but I just thought that was a nice touch, and it's stamped in there, really well stamped in there as well, so it's not going anywhere. But yeah, it's just some terminology they probably used back then. Now this thing is bloody massive. I didn't realise how big it was because there was no dimensions on the description, but it's 5 1/8 inch closed, so it is massive. And I kind of think maybe back in the day when the Stockmans were really popular, when they were first made, they may have been this sort of size because they're sort of ranchers, farmers' knives, and they kind of probably did want that sort of length on them. But yeah, really snappy, got a really good walking torque. It's a pin shield, like a wide crest shield. No gaps on the back there. It's got a real nice clip point, got a bit of swedging up here and a long pull. My Italy part of the tang has been worn off, but on that forum it's shown this exact knife with that Italy stamp. So look how big it is. Barely fits in the camera, but yeah, it's got a sheep's foot. Look at that. It's nice and snappy as well. Excuse that, that's the missus's phone going off. But yeah, it's almost like a hawk built now, but we can soon sort that out. But yeah, again, really snappy. And then a nice fat spade blade. But yeah, very nice. But yeah, so I was in search of finding some old, really well put together knives. And they're decent knives, but the amount of money that they want for them on the second-hand market, I don't think they're probably worth what they're trying to get. That definitely is not worth the money that the guy was after. But yeah, if you can get them for a good price. I love that one that Drew's got, that spear point, sort of boy's knife. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, like I say, there's a lot knocking around at the moment. They do seem to be well put together knives. There's no doubt in that. But yeah, just a bit of an interesting one for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.